The stars were quiet that night. Captain sat alone in the observation room of Station Frost, a hidden military base built deep inside Europa, one of Jupiter's frozen moons. She watched the endless darkness of space through the thick glass window and sipped her coffee slowly. It was her favorite time, the time when nothing happened. But tonight something would happen, something that would change everything. Her communication device buzzed. Lieutenant's voice came through, calm but urgent. "Captain, we have a problem, a big one." Set down her coffee and walked quickly to the command center. Stood before a massive holographic display, his face pale in the blue light. On the screen, thousands of red dots appeared near Jupiter. "What am I looking at?" asked. "Ships," said. 4,000 of them. They just came out of hyperspace." Felt her heart beat faster, but she kept her face calm. She had trained for this moment her entire life. Every soldier in Earth's secret military had trained for this moment. They just never knew when it would come. "Do we know who they are?" she asked. Pulled up another display. It showed a symbol, a black circle with 3 red lines cutting through it. The Dominion. They control 3 galaxies. They have conquered 17 different species in the last 1,000 years. They enslave anyone who surrenders and kill anyone who fights. Nodded slowly. She knew about the Earth had been watching them for over 200 years, watching and waiting. "They are sending a message," said. "Audio and visual, should I play it?" "Play it." The holographic display changed. A creature appeared, tall, gray-skinned, with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on its face. It wore armor made of black metal, and behind it stood dozens of soldiers. When it spoke, its voice was deep and cold. "Primitive species of Earth, I am High Sovereign of the Dominion. We have heard your radio signals traveling through space. We know you are weak. We know you are alone. You have 2 choices. Submit to the Dominion and serve us as slaves, or resist and be completely destroyed. You have 1 day to respond." The message ended. Silence filled the command center. Looked at. "Captain, what do we do?" Smiled. It was a small smile, but there was something dangerous in it. "We call Seoul." Deep beneath the mountains of Korea, Admiral received the message in the United Defense Council's underground headquarters. The room was enormous, filled with screens showing every corner of Earth and the solar system. 50 officers worked at their stations, monitoring everything. Was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had served Earth's hidden military for 40 years. She had seen many things, but this was what she had been waiting for. She played the message 3 times. When it finished, she laughed softly. General Park, her second-in-command, looked confused. "Admiral, why are you laughing? This is serious." "Oh, it is serious," agreed. "But it is also funny. Do you know why?" "No, Admiral." Stood up and walked to the main display. With a wave of her hand, she brought up a map of the solar system. Then she pressed a button and the map changed. Hidden bases appeared everywhere: on the Moon, on Mars, inside asteroids, floating in the darkness between planets. Weapons platforms, shipyards, entire fleets of warships that no one in the galaxy knew existed. "They came here looking for sheep," said. "They think we are primitive. They think we are weak. They have no idea, General, no idea at all." She turned to face the room. Every officer stopped working and looked at her. "For 250 years humanity has hidden," she announced. "We discovered faster-than-light travel in 2089. We explored the galaxy in secret. We watched other civilizations rise and fall. We saw them conquer and enslave innocent species. And we made a choice. We would stay hidden. We would prepare. We would wait for the day when someone came to threaten our home." She paused, letting her words sink in. "That day is today. Begin protocol awakening. Show them what we really are." Across the solar system, things began to happen. On the Moon, enormous doors opened in the gray surface, revealing weapons that could destroy entire fleets. On Mars, soldiers woke from cryogenic sleep. their bodies enhanced with technology that made them faster and stronger than any normal human. In the asteroid belt, shipyards that had been silent for decades roared to life. And on Earth, 8 billion people went about their normal lives, completely unaware that their species was about to reveal its greatest secret. Back on station, Frost received Admiral's orders. She read them twice to make sure she understood. "What does it say?" asked. "We are to send a response to the," said. "A surrender." Shook her head. "No, a warning." She walked to the communication console and began recording. Her voice was calm and clear. "High Sovereign, this is Captain of the Earth Defense Force. We have received your message. We do not accept your terms. We will not surrender. We will not submit. You have declared war on our planet without knowing anything about us. That was a mistake. We accept your declaration of war. We suggest you prepare yourself." She ended the recording and sent it. Stared at her. "Captain, are you sure about this? There are 4,000 ships out there." Looked at the red dots on the display. 4,000 ships. The largest invasion fleet that had ever assembled. They had conquered entire civilizations with less. She said quietly, "How many ships do you think we have?" He frowned. "I do not know, a few hundred." Brought up a new display. His eyes went wide. 12,000, said. 12,000 warships hidden throughout the solar system, plus orbital defense platforms, plus planetary shields, plus weapons that they cannot even imagine. She put her hand on his shoulder. "They think they are coming to conquer a primitive planet. They have no idea that they just walked into a trap that humanity has been building for 250 years. Far away near Jupiter, High Sovereign received Earth's response. He played it for his advisors and they laughed. A primitive species threatening the mighty, it was absurd. "They are brave," one advisor said. "Stupid but brave." "Bravery means nothing against superior firepower," another added. "We will crush them in days." Nodded, but something bothered him. There was something in the human captain's eyes, something he had never seen in the eyes of species about to be conquered. She was not afraid. Why was she not afraid? He pushed the thought away. It did not matter. Tomorrow he would send his scouting force. They would destroy Earth's pathetic defenses, and then the rest of his fleet would move in and finish the job. They had never lost a war. They would not lose this one. But deep in his mind, in a place he did not want to look, a small voice whispered a warning. "What if you are wrong? What if these humans are not what they seem?" Ignored the voice. He gave the order to prepare the attack. He would soon learn that he should have listened. High Sovereign stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Conquest, and watched 200 of his warships move toward the blue planet called Earth. It was a beautiful world, he admitted. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. It would make a fine addition to the Dominion. "The scouting force is in position," his tactical officer reported. "Ready to attack on your command." Smiled with his thin gray lips. "Begin the attack, destroy their satellites first, then their cities, leave enough alive for slaves." The 200 ships fired their weapons. Bright beams of energy shot toward Earth, aimed at the small metal objects floating in orbit. Old satellites, they believed, primitive communication devices. They were wrong. The moment the beams touched the first satellite, it changed. What looked like old metal transformed into something else. Advanced weapons platforms, hidden for centuries behind clever disguises. They activated all at once, and the darkness of space filled with light. 200 ships. 11 seconds later, there were none. On the bridge of the Eternal Conquest, silence fell. Officers stared at their screens, unable to believe what they saw. 200 ships gone, not damaged, not retreating. Gone. His 4 eyes went wide. What happened? They destroyed our entire scouting force," the tactical officer whispered. "In seconds." "Impossible. Run the data again." They ran it again. The result was the same. Earth's orbital platforms had weapons they had never seen before. Weapons that fired faster, hit harder, and aimed better than anything in the Dominion's fleet. One of its advisors stepped forward. "High Sovereign, perhaps we should reconsider." "No," growled. "This was a trick, a lucky strike. Send 1,000 ships, overwhelm them with numbers." On Earth, in the underground command center beneath Sol, Admiral watched the destruction of the scouts with satisfaction. Around her, officers cheered and clapped. "Phase 1 complete," she announced. "They will send more. Prepare the veil." Doctor, a tall woman with kind eyes and hands that never stopped moving, nodded from her station. She was the one who had built Earth's greatest defense, a planetary shield that could protect the entire world. "The veil is ready, Admiral," she said, "whenever you give the order." "Wait for them to fire," instructed. "Let them waste their energy, then show them what the veil can do." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility that officially did not exist, Sergeant walked through rows of sleeping soldiers. There were 50,000 of them, lying in special pods that kept them in perfect frozen sleep. The sleepers, they were called. Enhanced humans with metal bonded to their bones, computers linked to their brains, and reflexes faster than any natural creature. They had volunteered for this. They had trained for years, then gone to sleep, waiting for the day Earth needed them. That day had come. Pressed a button and the first row of pods began to open. Men and women woke slowly, blinking in the dim light. Their eyes glowed faintly blue, a side effect of the neural enhancements. "Good morning, soldiers," said. "We have guests. Time to wake up." In orbit around Neptune, Ensign sat in the cockpit of her fighter ship and waited. She was 24 years old, the youngest pilot in the Shadow Fleet. Her ship was special. It could phase between dimensions, becoming invisible and untouchable, then reappearing wherever she wanted. "All Shadow pilots, this is command," a voice said in her earpiece. "Enemy fleet moving toward Earth. 1,000 ships. Prepare for phase strike." Smiled and gripped her controls. Finally, I was getting bored. Her squadron, 40 ships in total, activated their phase drives. Reality bent around them, and they vanished from normal space. They existed now in a place between dimensions, able to see the fleet but completely invisible to their sensors. 1,000 warships approached Earth. They flew in perfect formation, confident in their overwhelming numbers. Their weapons charged, ready to fire everything at once. "Fire at will," the commander ordered. 1,000 ships unleashed their weapons. Beams of energy, missiles, plasma bombs, everything they had. Enough firepower to crack a planet in half. On Earth, Doctor pressed a single button. The veil activated. A shimmering field of energy appeared around the entire planet. It was beautiful, almost like a soap bubble, but it was the strongest shield ever created by any species. When the weapons hit it, something amazing happened. The shield did not break. It did not even flicker. Instead, it absorbed every attack, converting the energy into power. The more the fired, the stronger it became. On the bridge of the command ship, the weapons officer stared at his readings. "High Sovereign, the shield is absorbing our attacks, all of them. Increase firepower." "We are at maximum, sir." Watched in horror as Earth's shield glowed brighter and brighter. His fleet was giving it energy, making it stronger. This was impossible. No species had technology like this. Then the Shadow Fleet attacked, and her squadron phased back into normal space directly behind the formation. They appeared from nowhere like ghosts and began firing at the command ships. "Where did they come from?" the tactical officer screamed. "They were not on our sensors." "Because we were not in your dimension," said to herself as she destroyed her third target. Surprise! They tried to fight back, but the shadow ships were too fast, too maneuverable. They phased in, fired, and phased out before anyone could target them. It was not a battle. It was a hunt. back on the Eternal Conquest, received damage reports. In 2 hours, he had lost 847 ships, almost his entire attack force, and Earth had not lost a single vessel. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "They are supposed to be primitive. Their signals showed basic radio technology." An advisor approached carefully. "High Sovereign, I have been analyzing their technology. It is not primitive. It is extremely advanced, more advanced than ours." "That cannot be." "I believe they hid their true capabilities," the advisor continued. "For a long time, perhaps centuries, they let us believe they were weak." Sat down heavily in his command chair. His hands were shaking. In 500 years of commanding fleets, he had never lost a battle. Now, in one day, he had lost over 1,000 ships. And the humans had not even scratched their defenses yet. On Earth, Admiral watched the remaining ships retreat toward Jupiter. The cheering in the command center was louder now. Officers hugged each other. Some cried with relief, but did not celebrate. She knew this was only the beginning. "They still have over 3,000 ships," she said quietly to General Park. "Will not give up. He cannot afford to. If he returns home in defeat, his own people will execute him." "So what do we do?" Park asked. Turned to face the main display. It showed Earth, surrounded by its glowing shield with the wreckage of ships floating in orbit. "We give him one chance," she said. "One chance to walk away, one chance to save his people. And if he refuses?" His eyes hardened. "Then we show him what humanity is truly capable of, and he will wish he had listened." She pressed a button and began recording a message. "High Sovereign, this is Admiral of the Earth Defense Force. Today you learned that we are not what you believed. We are not primitive, we are not weak. We have been watching your dominion for over 200 years. We have prepared for this moment for generations. You have two choices now. You can retreat, return to your space, and leave Earth in peace, or you can continue this war and lose everything. The choice is yours. Choose wisely." The message was sent. Far away received it. He played it 3 times, his 4 eyes burning with hatred and fear. Retreat was not possible. The Dominion did not retreat. The Dominion had never lost. But deep in his heart, a terrible doubt was growing. What if this was the time they did lose? What if these humans were something the galaxy had never seen before? He pushed the doubt away and began planning his next attack. He would not surrender. He would not retreat. He would find a way to win. He had to. But he was beginning to understand something that would keep him awake for many nights to come. He had made a terrible mistake, and he was only now seeing how terrible it truly was. The galaxy was about to learn a secret that had been hidden for 250 years, a secret that would change everything. Ambassador had waited a long time for this moment. She sat in her small ship, hidden in an asteroid field far from any star system, and prepared the broadcast. For 30 years she had lived among alien species, pretending to be a simple trader, watching and learning. She had seen them conquer innocent worlds. She had seen them enslave billions of beings, and she had stayed silent because those were her orders. But now the time for silence was over. "This is Ambassador of Earth," she said into the recording device. "This message is being sent to every inhabited system in the galaxy. What I am about to tell you will be difficult to believe, but every word is true." She took a deep breath and began. "For 250 years, humanity has lied to the galaxy. We let you believe we were primitive. We let you think we were a young species just learning to explore our own solar system. This was not true. In the year 2089, we discovered faster-than-light travel. We explored the galaxy in secret. We watched you, all of you. We saw your civilizations, your wars, your triumphs and failures, and we made a choice. On thousands of worlds, beings stopped what they were doing and listened. The broadcast was on every frequency, impossible to block. We saw the Dominion," continued. "We watched them conquer 17 species. We saw them burn cities, enslave children, destroy entire cultures, and we knew that one day they would come for us. So we prepared. For 250 years we built weapons, trained soldiers, and created defenses that no one in the galaxy has ever seen, not because we wanted war, but because we knew war would find us eventually. She pressed a button and images appeared alongside her words. Images of Earth's hidden military, shipyards inside asteroids, weapons platforms circling every planet in the solar system, fleets of warships, 12,000 strong, waiting in the darkness. Across the galaxy, beings gasped in shock. 3 days ago, said, the declared war on Earth. They sent 4,000 ships. They expected an easy victory. They were wrong. In 2 battles, we destroyed over 1,000 of their warships. We have suffered 0 casualties. 0. She leaned closer to the camera. I am telling you this because you deserve to know the truth. Humanity is not weak. We never were, but we are also not conquerors. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We do not want to enslave anyone. We only want to protect our home. If they leave us alone, we will leave them alone. But if they continue this war, we will end it. Permanently. The broadcast ended, but its effects were only beginning. Panic spread through the streets. Citizens watched the human broadcast and could not believe what they saw. For generations, they had been told that the Dominion was unbeatable. Now, an unknown species had humiliated them in battle. Rumors began to spread. Humans could not be killed, some said. They healed from any wound. They felt no pain. They were not natural creatures but machines built for war. None of this was true, but fear made people believe impossible things. In the Galactic Assembly, a gathering of representatives from dozens of species, Counselor requested an emergency meeting. She was an older being with silver scales and wise eyes, from a species called the who had long avoided this attention. I have suspected this for years, she told the assembly. Earth's signals were too convenient, too primitive. A species that sends radio waves into space but shows no other signs of technology. It made no sense. Why would they hide? Another counselor asked. Because they were smart, replied. They watched the conquer world after world. They saw that strength attracts attention, so they hid their strength. They pretended to be harmless, and while everyone ignored them, they built the most powerful military the galaxy has ever seen. She stood and addressed the full assembly. We ignored Earth because they seemed weak. We were fools. They were never hiding from us. They were waiting for someone to make the mistake they just made. Far away, on a controlled planet called Seven, Commander received word of the broadcast. He smiled and turned to his team, 12 humans who had lived among them as slaves for over a decade. They were not really slaves, of course. They were the forgotten, human agents who had volunteered to live in enemy territory, gathering information and waiting for the day they would be activated. That day had come. Time to work, said. You know your targets. Power stations, communication hubs, supply depots, nothing lethal. We disable, not destroy. We are not like them. His team nodded and disappeared into the night. Within hours, supply lines across 3 star systems went dark. Ships could not refuel. Messages could not be sent. The mighty Dominion was suddenly blind and helpless. On the Eternal Conquest, High Sovereign received report after report of sabotage. His supply lines were crippled. His communications were disrupted. His people were panicking. And he still had no idea how the humans were doing it. They have agents among us, an advisor said. They have been watching us for centuries. They know everything about us. Slammed his fist on his chair. How did we not see this? Because they wanted to be invisible, the advisor replied quietly. And they are very, very good at it. On Earth, Admiral stood before a gathering of military commanders from around the world. They met in the Soul Command Center, the heart of human defense. The galaxy now knows who we are, she said. They know they cannot win easily, but they will not surrender. Their pride will not allow it. They would rather die than admit defeat. General, commander of the ground forces, spoke up. Then what is our plan? Brought up a holographic display of the remaining fleet, 3,000 ships, still gathered near Jupiter. We will offer them one more chance to retreat, she said. And when they refuse, we will end this war, but we will do it our way. We will not become monsters to defeat monsters. We will fight with honor. We will protect civilians. We will treat prisoners with dignity. Why? Another commander asked. They would not do the same for us. Turn to face him. That is exactly why, because we are not them. Because when this war is over, the galaxy will remember not just that we won, but how we won. They will remember that humans fight hard but fight fair, that we are powerful but not cruel. That is how we prove we deserve our place among the stars. The commanders were silent for a moment. Then, one by one, they nodded. Captain, watching from Station Frost, felt pride swell in her chest. She had spent her whole life preparing for war. But now she understood that winning the war was not enough. They had to win it the right way. Her communication device buzzed. A message from Admiral. Captain, I want you to send one final message to High Sovereign. Make it personal. Make him understand that we are giving him a real chance to save his people. Sat down at her console and began recording. High Sovereign, my name is, I'm the one who sent you Earth's first response. I'm not a politician or an admiral, I'm a soldier like you. And I am asking you, soldier, to end this. You came here expecting to conquer a primitive world. You found something else. You found a species that has spent centuries preparing for this moment. You cannot win this war. Every day you fight, more of your people will die. Every day you resist, your empire grows weaker. I do not hate you. I do not hate your people, but I will defend my home with everything I have. Please take your ships, go back to your space. Live in peace. This is not a trick. This is not a trap. This is mercy. Take it. She ended the recording and sent it. On the Eternal Conquest, listened to his message alone in his quarters. He played it 5 times. Each time he looked for deception, for tricks, for hidden threats. He found none. The human woman was telling the truth. She was offering him a way out. For a long moment, he considered taking it. He thought about his soldiers, his people, his family back home. He thought about what would happen if he returned in defeat versus what would happen if he continued fighting and lost everything. Then he thought about his pride, his reputation, his legacy. He deleted the message and began planning his next attack. He would not run, he would not surrender. He would find a way to win, or he would die trying. On Station Frost, received word that her message had been delivered. She waited for hours, hopping for a response. None came. She closed her eyes and sighed. I tried, she whispered to herself. I really tried. Then she stood, straightened her uniform, and prepared for what came next. The war would continue, and humanity would finish it. One way or another. 3,000 warships moved toward Earth in perfect formation. High Sovereign stood on the bridge of the Eternal Conquest, his 4 eyes fixed on the blue planet ahead. He had gambled everything on this attack. If he failed, there would be nothing left. All ships prepare for combat, he ordered. Today, we show the galaxy that the Dominion cannot be defeated. Today, we destroy Earth. But Earth was not waiting to be destroyed. Admiral gave the order, and humanity's hidden fleet emerged from the darkness. 12,000 warships appeared from asteroid fields, from behind moons, from the shadows of planets. They moved in perfect coordination, surrounding the fleet from every direction. Watched his tactical display with growing horror, red dots everywhere. Human ships outnumbered his 4-to-1. High Sovereign, his tactical officer said, voice shaking, they have us surrounded. Then we fight our way out, growled. All ships attack. The Battle of 442 had begun. Pilot flew her fighter through the chaos of war. She was the leader of the Ghost Hands, a squadron famous for their impossible maneuvers. Around her, beams of energy and missiles filled space like a deadly storm. "Ghost 2, cover my left," she said calmly. "Ghost 5, target that command ship's engines. We want them disabled, not destroyed." Her orders were clear: capture enemy commanders alive when possible. Humanity did not fight the way they expected. They did not kill for pleasure or revenge. Every shot was calculated. Every target was chosen carefully. A fighter appeared on screen. She could have destroyed it easily. Instead, she disabled its weapons and engines, leaving the pilot alive. "Why do you not kill me?" the pilot asked over the communication channel, confused and afraid. "Because death is not the goal," replied. "Ending this war is. Now stay still and wait for rescue." She flew on, leaving the helpless enemy behind. On the surface of a liberated planet called Seven, General led ground forces through the streets of an abandoned city. The military had fled, leaving behind the species they had enslaved for generations. There were gentle beings with soft blue skin and large eyes. They had been slaves for 300 years. They did not know how to be free. A young child approached, trembling with fear. "Are you here to be our new masters?" Knelt down to meet the child's eyes. His face was hard from years of military service, but his voice was gentle. "No," he said, "we are not here to rule you. We are here to free you. You belong to yourselves now." The child did not understand. Freedom was a word they had never been allowed to use. "What do we do?" the child asked. "Whatever you want," replied. "Build, create, live. That is what freedom means." Across controlled space, the same scene repeated. Human soldiers liberated slave populations on planet after planet. They did not steal resources. They did not demand loyalty. They simply removed the chains and walked away. The liberated species watched in amazement. They had never seen conquerors who did not want to conquer. Back in space, the battle continued. They fought with desperate fury, but they were outmatched in every way. Human ships were faster, their weapons more accurate, their tactics more creative. In 4 hours, it was over. The mighty fleet was reduced to rubble and drifting wreckage. Only 200 ships remained, and they were surrounded. Its flagship, the Eternal Conquest, floated alone in space. Its engines were disabled. Its weapons were destroyed. The High Sovereign sat in his command chair, staring at nothing. "High Sovereign," an officer said quietly, "the humans are hailing us. They want to speak with you." Considered refusing. He considered activating the self-destruct and dying with honor, but something stopped him. Curiosity, perhaps, or exhaustion. "Put them through," he said. Captain appeared on his screen. She looked tired but determined. "High Sovereign," she said, "your fleet is destroyed. Your empire is crumbling. This war is over. Surrender now, and we will spare your remaining ships and crews." "Spare us?" laughed bitterly. "Why, so you can enslave us as we enslaved others." "No," said, "so you can face justice. You and your commanders will stand trial for your crimes against the species you conquered. The people will not be punished for the actions of their leaders. They will be given a chance to rebuild, to change, to become something better." Stared at her. "You expect me to believe that?" "I do not care what you believe," replied. "I am telling you the truth. That is who we are. We do not slaughter defeated enemies. We do not torture prisoners. We do not erase civilizations. We are not you. We never will be." On a damaged cruiser drifting near Mars, Medic worked in the medical bay, surrounded by wounded soldiers. Some were human. Most were not. An officer lay on a table, green blood seeping from wounds in his chest. His 4 eyes were dim with pain. "Why do you help me?" the officer asked weakly. "I am your enemy. I came here to enslave your people." Continued working, carefully stopping the bleeding. "You are wounded. You need help. That is all that matters." "But I would have killed you. I would have killed your family." "Maybe," agreed, But you did not, and now you are hurt, so I will help you." The officer was silent for a moment. "I do not understand you humans." Smiled slightly. "Most species do not, but maybe that is okay. Maybe understanding can come later. Right now, what matters is that you survive." He finished treating the wound and moved to the next patient. The officer watched him go, confused by something he had never encountered before: kindness from an enemy. Far away, on the planet-killing weapon was being prepared. It was their final option, a device that could destroy an entire world in seconds. Most loyal commanders had activated it without his knowledge, determined to win even if their leader had failed. On Earth, Doctor detected the weapon charging. Her instruments showed massive energy building up in space. "Admiral," she reported calmly, "they are attempting to fire a planet killer at Earth." The command center went silent. A planet killer, a weapon designed to shatter worlds. Admiral did not panic. "Is the moon ready?" "Ready and waiting, Admiral." "Then let them fire." The weapon launched. A beam of pure destructive energy shot across space, aimed directly at Earth. It moved at nearly the speed of light, a strike that no shield could stop. But it never reached Earth. The moon moved. Not the whole moon, that was impossible. But the battle station built inside it, the weapon humanity had constructed over 2 centuries of secret work. It fired a counterbeam that intercepted the planet killer in the emptiness between worlds. The 2 beams collided in a flash of light brighter than a star. The energy scattered into space, harmless. On Earth, 8 billion people never knew how close they had come to death. In the Soul Command Center, allowed herself a small smile. "Send a message to," she said. "Tell him that was your last mistake." On the Eternal Conquest, received the message. He also received reports that the planet killer had failed. His last hope was gone. He sat alone for a long time, thinking about everything that had happened. He had underestimated the humans. He had believed his own propaganda. And now, everything was lost. His communication device buzzed. It was Elder, his grandmother, calling from the... "My grandson," she said, her voice heavy with age and sorrow, "I have watched the human broadcasts. I have seen how they treat our wounded soldiers. I have seen how they free the species we enslaved." "I have seen it too," said quietly. "They are not like us," continued. "They could destroy us. They have the power, but they choose mercy instead. Do you understand what that means?" Closed his 4 eyes. "It means we were wrong about everything." "It means there is still hope," said. "Surrender, my grandson, let the killing end. Perhaps we can become something better, someday." Thought about his people, his soldiers, the generations of who would come after him. For the first time in his life, he considered a future without conquest. He opened a channel to Captain. "I am ready to surrender," he said. "What happens now?" His face showed no triumph, no gloating, just relief. "Now," she said, "we end this war together." And for the first time since it began, the guns went silent. Earth's fleet surrounded the 12,000 warships hung in orbit like a ring of steel, their weapons capable of turning the planet below into dust. Every being in the galaxy watched, waiting to see what humanity would do. They expected revenge. They expected destruction. They expected humans to do what they would have done. They were wrong. Admiral stood on the bridge of her flagship and looked down at the world. Cities covered its surface, lights twinkling in the darkness. Billions of beings lived there, soldiers, yes, but also children, artists, teachers, dreamers, people who had nothing to do with the decision to attack Earth. General Park stood beside her. "Admiral, the fleet is in position. We can begin bombardment on your command." Was quiet for a long moment. No bombardment. Park blinked. "Admiral." "We are not here to destroy them," said. "We are here to end a war. There is a difference." She pressed a button and began broadcasting to both her fleet and the planet below. People of this is Admiral of the Earth Defense Force. Your military has surrendered. This war is over. We have the power to destroy your world. We will not use it. We did not come here for revenge. We came here for justice and for peace. On the surface below, citizens looked up at the sky filled with enemy ships and waited to die. But death did not come. Instead, human transport ships began landing. They carried not weapons but doctors, engineers, and supplies. They had come to help, not to hurt. Elder's grandmother met the first human delegation at the main government building. She walked slowly, her old body bent with age, but her eyes were still sharp. Ambassador stepped forward and bowed respectfully. Elder, I am Ambassador of Earth. I am here to discuss the terms of peace. Studied the human woman. Why do you not simply take what you want? You have one, your ships fill our sky. Smiled gently. Because taking what we want would make us no different from you, and we have spent 250 years becoming something different. They sat down together to talk, not as conquerors and conquered, but as two beings trying to find a way forward. The peace treaty took 3 weeks to negotiate, and his highest commanders would stand trial for their crimes against the species they had enslaved. The military would be reduced to a defensive force only. All slave populations would be freed immediately. But the people themselves would not be punished. They would be given a chance to change, to grow, to become something better. Why, asked on the final day of negotiations, why show us mercy after everything we did? Thought about the question for a long time before answering. Because mercy is not weakness, she said finally. It is the hardest kind of strength. Anyone can destroy, anyone can take revenge, but it takes real courage to stop, to say this is enough, the killing ends here. Nodded slowly, your species is strange. I know, replied with a small smile, that is probably our greatest strength. On Earth, the celebration lasted for days. People filled the streets, cheering and crying and holding each other. They had faced the greatest threat in human history and survived. But not everyone celebrated. In a small park inn, a girl named Bora sat alone on a bench, staring at nothing. She was 11 years old. 2 weeks ago, her parents had been on a space station near Jupiter when the first attack came. They were among the few human casualties of the war. Captain found her there. She had been looking for the girl since the war ended, driven by a feeling she could not quite explain. May I sit down? Asked softly. Bora shrugged without looking up. Sat beside her. For a while neither of them spoke. The sounds of celebration drifted from the city, but here in the park there was only quiet. I lost people too, said eventually. Friends, family, in other wars, other times, the pain does not go away, but it does get easier to carry, eventually. Bora looked at her. Her eyes were red from crying. Everyone says we won, but I do not feel like we won. I understand, said. Victory does not erase loss, it never does. My father used to say that fighting was wrong, Bora said quietly. He said humans should find peaceful ways to solve problems, but they did not want peace. They wanted to hurt us. Yes, they did. So we had to fight. Yes, we did. Bora was silent for a moment. Then she asked the question that had been burning inside her since her parents died. Are we the good guys? Felt her heart ache. Such a simple question, such a hard answer. I think, she said carefully, that we try to be. Every single day we try, we make mistakes. We are not perfect, but we try to be kind. We try to be fair. We try to protect innocent people, even when it is hard, even when it would be easier to be cruel. But we still killed people. Yes, we did, and every one of those deaths matters. That is why we do not celebrate killing. We celebrate surviving. We celebrate protecting our home, and we promise to do better, always. Bora thought about this for a long time. Then she reached into her pocket and pulled out 2 small flowers. She had picked them that morning without knowing why. Can we put these somewhere? For my mom and dad. Nodded, I know just the place. They walked together to a memorial that had been built in the center of the city. It was a simple wall of white stone, with names carved into its surface. The names of everyone who had died in the war. Bora found her parents' names and placed the flowers gently at the base of the wall. I miss you, she whispered. But I think I understand now. You wanted us to be good, you wanted us to be kind, and we really are. Put her hand on the girl's shoulder, and they stood together in silence. Across the galaxy, the 17 species that had been enslaved by the began to rebuild. They formed an alliance with Earth, not because humans demanded it, but because they chose it. They had seen how humanity fought and how humanity showed mercy. They wanted to be part of whatever future humans were building. Counselor of the Galactic Assembly gave a speech that was broadcast everywhere. For thousands of years, she said, we believed that power was the only thing that mattered. The strong ruled, the weak served. That was the law of the galaxy, but Earth has shown us a different way. They had the power to destroy the completely. They chose not to. They had the right to take revenge for all the suffering the Dominion caused. They chose mercy instead. This is not weakness. This is a new kind of strength, and I believe it is the future. Years passed, the galaxy changed. The freed from their warrior culture slowly began to change too. Some of them traveled to Earth to learn from humans. Some humans traveled to worlds to teach. Old hatreds faded. New friendships formed. And somewhere in the darkness of space, a new species discovered Earth's old radio signals. They gathered their fleet and prepared for conquest. But before they could attack, a ship appeared. A ship crewed by a former officer who had been treated by medic during the war. Turn back, the officer warned the new species. You do not want to fight the humans. Why not? The alien commander demanded. They are small, they have only one planet. The officer laughed. It was a sound he had learned from humans, a sound that his species had never made before the war. They are kind, he said. They are generous, they are forgiving, but if you threaten their home, their families, their future, they will teach you the same lesson they taught us. And what lesson is that? The officer smiled. Humanity is not prey. Humanity was never prey. And if you are foolish enough to attack them, you will discover what we discovered, that mercy is not weakness, that kindness is not surrender, that the most dangerous thing in the galaxy is a species that fights not for conquest, not for glory, but for love. The alien commander considered this. Then slowly, he ordered his fleet to turn around. Perhaps, he said, we will try diplomacy first. Somewhere on Earth, children played in sunlight, unaware that across the stars, their name had become legend. Not for their weapons, not for their fury, but for their mercy. And that was the greatest victory of all.